In the weeks leading up to the raid, prosecutors working with special counsel Robert Mueller asked pointed questions about Cohen's personal real estate deals, his efforts to build a Trump Tower in Moscow, and his family's taxi business, as well as payments to actress Stormy Daniels, a source who was among those questioned told NewsPulse News. This interest from the special counsel preceded Monday's FBI raids on Cohen's office, his home, and a Manhattan hotel where he had been staying. The New York Times reported that the raid stemmed partially from a referral from Mueller, and that it sought records related to Cohen's cab business and the payments to the women. This new information about the questions Mueller's team had about Cohen reveals that the FBI's interest in Cohen's personal finances and foreign business dealings goes even deeper. Cohen has not responded to multiple requests from NewsPulse News. His lawyer, Stephen Ryan, declined to comment on whether the FBI is looking into Cohen's business history. "I'm not taking calls in my office from the press. Thanks," Ryan said before hanging up. Ryan did not respond to a subsequent email from NewsPulse News. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York also declined to comment about any matter related to Cohen. On Monday, the day of the FBI raid, the multinational law firm and lobbying powerhouse Squire Patton Boggs said it was ending what had been described as a strategic alliance with Cohen that was announced almost exactly 1 year ago. According to the New York Law Journal, Cohen was a mysterious presence at the firm, with many of his colleagues unclear about his role and troubled by the murky arrangement even before FBI agents burst into his office. In the wake of the FBI raid, many of Cohen's other business associates refused to answer questions about their relationship with him. This included the Republican National Committee, which gave Cohen a top fundraising position almost exactly 1 year ago. NewsPulse News called the RNC's press office on Thursday to confirm whether Cohen is still a national deputy chairman of the party's finance leadership team. A woman who answered the phone said she believed Cohen still has a position with the party. She said we should email the communications team for a proper statement about his role. Over the next several hours, the RNC did not respond to that email. NewsPulse News subsequently called the RNC, seeking a response. The woman who answered the phone this second time said the earlier call had been answered by an intern and she would not confirm whether Cohen remains with the RNC. The RNC also would not say whether the FBI had taken records related to his fundraising. RNC Finance Chairman Todd Ricketts did not respond to multiple requests for comment about Cohen. Cohen's laws went on purchase 2 more units there and 1 at Trump Grande in Sunny Isles, Florida, the Post article said. Michael Cohen has a great insight into the real estate market. He has invested in my buildings because he likes to make money, and he does, Trump said, adding, in short, he's a very smart person. Cohen became an executive at the Trump Organization that same year. Cohen's Ukrainian laws have had extensive business dealings with him, including his taxi operation. "Who's Michael Cohen?" he asked before hanging up the phone. The family's medallions were then managed by Russian-born Evgeny Friedman, who is known as the Taxi King for his New York City cab empire. Reached on the phone Wednesday, Friedman, who has had a litany of legal issues, also hung up without discussing his relationship with Cohen. "I'm not interested," Friedman said. In a previous conversation with Talking Points Memo, Friedman said that he and Cohen are both friends and partners. "I help him out as much as I can. I also have a business relationship, but we're friends, you know. We have dinner with his wife," Friedman said. NewsPulse News briefly spoke to Cohen's father-in-law, Fema Schusterman, on Wednesday. Schusterman would not discuss the family's taxi ventures. "I am not in taxi business long time," Schusterman said. "I don't want to talk about it." On Wednesday, the New York Daily News reported that the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance has said Cohen and his wife owe more than $55,000 in unpaid taxes connected to their taxi business. The oldest tax warrants are from 2013, and the total amount of alleged debt has grown by more than $15,000 since last August. Back then, Talking Points memo asked about the debt, and Cohen suggested it was connected to Friedman's tax issues. Friedman was arrested in 2017 and charged with failing to pay millions to the state. The taxi operation isn't the only time Cohen entered into business with his Ukrainian laws. In 2006, Oronov, Brian Cohen's father-in-law, teamed up with the two brothers on multiple companies involved in the Ukrainian ethanol industry. Those ventures were also detailed by Talking Points memo and BuzzFeed. Brian Cohen did not respond to a request for comment on this story. Oronov passed away in March 2017. After Cohen began working for the Trump Organization in 2007, he became the future president's self-described fiercely loyal fixer. It's Cohen's work behind the scenes of the campaign that has attracted the FBI's interest, trying to build a Trump Tower in Moscow and paying a porn star who claimed Trump had an affair with her. Cohen has confirmed that he reached out to the Kremlin as the Trump Organization pursued the Moscow project from September 2015 until January 2016, which was during Trump's presidential bid. In a statement to CNN, Cohen described the Trump-Moscow proposal as one of many development opportunities that the Trump Organization considered and ultimately rejected. Though the project didn't come to fruition, it's an obvious area of interest to Mueller's probe, which is focused on the Kremlin's meddling in the 2016 election. The U.S. intelligence community has said that this Russian interference was aimed at helping Trump win the race. Trump Moscow was reportedly the brainchild of Felix Sater, a Russian developer who had office space in Trump's Manhattan headquarters and had a deal to build Trump-branded properties. In a May 2016 interview with NewsPulse News, Trump suggested that he barely knew Sater. He was a guy who would bring deals up here, but we did very few of them. Who was that? Sater. Sater, yeah, we did very few of the deals, Trump said. He was somebody that he worked for a company and he would bring deals to us, but we did very few of the deals. NewsPulse News reached out to Sater on Wednesday to ask about his relationship with Cohen. Sater said he would only answer questions in writing because the media has focused on his conviction in a stock fraud scheme rather than his extensive work as a U.S. intelligence asset who provided the government with valuable information about terrorists and mobsters. In an email to NewsPulse News, Sater said that he and Cohen first met as teenagers. The $130,000 payment to the porn star, Stephanie Clifford, aka Stormy Daniels, was made by Cohen in October 2016, just weeks before the presidential election. The payment was part of a confidentiality agreement that prevented Daniels from discussing an affair she claims to have had with Trump in 2006. After the Wall Street Journal revealed the payment in January, a watchdog group filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission alleging that the transaction constituted an undeclared campaign contribution to Trump, which would be a violation of campaign finance laws. In statements to the media and the commission, Cohen said the money had come from his own pocket. He described the payment as a private transaction that was not a campaign contribution. In February, Cohen told NewsPulse News that he had paid Daniels even though her claim about the affair with Trump was false. Just because something isn't true doesn't mean that it can't cause you harm or damage, Cohen said. I will always protect Mr. Trump. Daniels has filed a suit against Cohen and Trump arguing that the non-disclosure agreement she signed in conjunction with the payment is invalid because it was not signed by Trump. She has also separately filed a defamation suit against Cohen arguing that his denial of the affair falsely painted her as a liar. Former Playboy playmate Karen McDougal has also claimed that she had an affair with Trump in 2006. American Media, Inc., which publishes the National Enquirer, signed a six-figure contract with McDougal that she has described as an effort to bury her story. Cohen and Trump are close with AMI chairman and CEO David Pecker, and the special counsel's prosecutors have probed whether Cohen also was involved in McDougal's tabloid deal. Questions about Cohen's family and his dealings with the Kremlin first burst into the spotlight in January 2017, when BuzzFeed published an unconfirmed dossier compiled by former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele, who was paid by Democrats and Republicans to conduct opposition research on Trump during the 2016 election. The dossier, which contained some errors, said that Cohen played an instrumental role in an ongoing exchange of information between Trump's campaign and the Kremlin. Among other things, the document alleged that Cohen met with Kremlin representatives in Prague in August 2016. The dossier described Cohen's wife as being of Russian descent and suggested that his father-in-law, Fima Shusterman, was a leading property developer in Moscow. Cohen strongly denied the various allegations in the dossier in a January 2017 interview with NewsPulse News, where he noted that his wife is Ukrainian rather than Russian. "I have no Russian Kremlin connections. My father-in-law is not a real estate developer friend of Putin's in Russia. I don't even think my father-in-law ever has been to Russia," Cohen said of Shusterman. Shusterman would not discuss the allegations in the dossier when NewsPulse News called him on Wednesday. "I don't want to talk about it. Goodbye," Shusterman said before hanging up. Cohen brought up another one of his Ukrainian relatives, his brother's father-in-law, Alex Oronov, in the interview where he denied the accusations in the dossier. As he claimed that he had never traveled to Russia, Cohen suggested his only visits to the region were 2 trips to Ukraine in either 2003 or 2004, because his brother's father-in-law lives in Kiev. That was around the time the Cohen brothers were involved in the ethanol businesses with Oronov. "I went to Kiev. That's the extent of it. I've never been to Russia," Cohen said. On January 19, 2017, the day before Trump took office, Cohen announced that he would be resigning from the Trump Organization and would become the president's personal attorney. "I'm not a government official. I'm not taking a government salary," Cohen said. "I'm just going to continue technically in the role that I play for Mr. Trump as president of the Trump Organization. I'm just going to be doing it as Donald Trump as President of the United States." In his new role, Cohen was involved in another bit of intrigue with links to Sater and Oronov. In February 2017, the New York Times reported that Cohen delivered Trump's former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn a peace plan for Ukraine and Russia that would have enabled the president to lift sanctions on Moscow. The proposal was crafted by Andriy Artemenko, a Ukrainian politician who met with Sater and Cohen shortly after Trump took office. In a March 2017 Facebook post, Artemenko said that Oronov, Cohen's brother's father-in-law, introduced him to Cohen. Cohen disputed Artemenko's claim and said that Sater had arranged the meeting about the peace plan. In his email to NewsPulse News, Sater backed up Cohen's version of events. Flynn resigned as Trump's national security advisor amid a scandal over his own dealings with Russian officials days after Cohen delivered him the peace plan. Sater said that he and Cohen did not present the proposal to anyone else in the White House after Flynn's departure. NewsPulse News also asked Sater if the FBI has questioned him about Cohen or requested any documents related to the president's personal attorney. "No comment," Sater wrote. ______________.